Ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe this. The other day, I was watching the tail end of Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness, aka WandaVision Season 2. And in that movie, there's a scene where we start this show on time. Let's go.
Have you started looking for a job yet?
Sorry.
What about babysitting?
Babysitting sucks. Adult men don't babysit things.
You're wonderful with children.
I've been stuck babysitting these 3 kids.
I know him. He's a friend. That looks good. What is that?
I'm being chased by 2 insane drug dealers. I came for my motherfucking keys to my motherfucking minivan, and that's what's up.
Have you ever been emotionally butt-fucked by a friend?
I can't say that I have, no. This guy has. No, just kidding.
It is me, your ninth best friend, and we are doing the Sitter 2011. This is the last in the series that we're doing from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then the 2010s. This is my pick, Jonah Hill's sleeper, I thought, comedy hit. Why did I pick this one? Well, all my movies, if you go back to Weird Science, then you have Pleasantville in the 90s, and then The Road for 2009, are all about growth, self-discovery. And I said, this one should be no different. Let's put a twist on it to cap end it, and let's make it a comedy. The last 2 were kind of serious in their tone. Also, let's annoy Chris, because this movie involves things that he hates vehemently, and that always brings a tear of joy to my eye. So I said, let's do Jonah Hill's 2011 The Sitter, a movie that I actually really do enjoy. But I'm not here alone. No, in my suffering, I'm going to bring up somebody who has also traveled the multiverses, the next Doctor. Sir, how are you doing?
Excellent. Good evening.
And I see there behind you is your TARDIS.
Yes. Never leave home without it.
That is correct. And he doesn't park it in DC, ladies and gentlemen, so you won't steal it. But last but not least in this show, we have a person who's going to be cursing me out if he hasn't already. It's the executive consultant. Sir, how are you doing?
I mean, I'm doing all right considering what I had to do today, which is work and watch the movies, right? Speaking of which, the last movie of the 2010s, 90s, all that stuff we're doing is actually Battle Los Angeles, which is immediately after this.
My pick.
Yeah, your pick. Thankfully, it's the last one. Because let me tell you, doozies.
Yeah. I have a great pick, ladies and gentlemen. I won't spoil it for my romance pick. We're doing that. Romantic comedies coming up. Chris was overjoyed when he heard which movie I was going to pick for that one. So if he thought this was anything,
you thought that was a curse.
Yeah, exactly. Wait till see what's coming. Listen, quick synopsis of this movie: a self-proclaimed loser is saddled with 3 kids and babysitting on a night that he wants to just sit home and watch I think it's the Aurora Borealis or some odd thing like that, and just watch TV. But he feels guilty, and he wants to do something nice for his mom because, as he says, he is a loser and he doesn't do anything for anybody else. And his night is turned upside down, and everything goes wrong and possibly right by the end. Starring Jonah Hill, as I said. What did you all think of this movie? Who wants to go first?
I'll go out there. So, I had not seen this movie before. I am a fan of Jonah Hill, so I was excited. So, okay, Jonah Hill flick, I can get behind that. And watching it, it starts out. That opening scene is one of those, things that Batman doesn't do apparently. And I was like, okay, this is setting the tone here. I get it. Jonah Hill kind of expected it. That's kind of, some of his trademarks, kind of movies he's in. And then, we move on to, okay, he's kind of a slouch, doesn't really have anything going for him. And, we see, okay, he does love his mother. He understands, the plight they're in, father who apparently has some money, but, kind of stiffed him. Mom who, just wants to get out the house, meet someone new, but he just wants to be lazy. Ultimate lazy. The phone is right there. It's ringing. She went upstairs and he's like, Mom, the phone's ringing. Makes her come back downstairs to answer. It's ridiculous. You know, something like that in my household when I was growing up, that wouldn't have happened. You know, probably would have got the crap kicked out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely it's a different dynamic. And, you know, as the movie progresses, you know, it gets more and more off the wall. But while there were some, you know, good kind of laughs in there, overall, you know, I kind of felt it was a little lackluster. You know, it wasn't really capturing me. You know, it wasn't holding my attention. You know, and I'm one. It doesn't take a whole lot for me to, you know, get excited about something. You know, I can dive in, I can suspend my disbelief, and I can dive into a movie, you know, and I can, you know, flow with it. But this one, it just wasn't capturing me. Even like I said, there were definitely some, you know, laugh out loud moments. Overall, you know, it just wasn't really capturing me the way that I would want it to take me along on that ride. You know, I was just kind of sitting there watching it as opposed to going along with the ride. So,
Okay.
you know, again, definitely had some funny moments there. The I don't know his name, but the kind of friend of the black guy that was like the friend of the drug dealer. You know, I've heard him before. Believe he was in not Far From Home. He was in one of the Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man movies as one of the teachers. He's also was on GTA on a radio station.
You talking about JB Smooth?
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
You know, funny guy. His scenes, you know, I was laughing at those. I was also laughing at the guy that was a drug dealer. You know, shout out to also
Sam
Method
Rockwell.
for you know, having his little cameo there. You know, like me some Method Man, Red Man. You know, that was fun. But you know, the comedy aspect of it, you know, it just wasn't really hitting on all cylinders for me.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a mixed review. I'm very curious what Chris thinks. I know it's going to be tinged and laced with hate and diatribe. Chris, are you ready, or do you need that timer yet? All right, let me jump in here. All right, Chris is, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are just listening to the audio podcast, is doing his version of Ray Charles. Exactly. All right, so I did like this movie. I can agree that there are ebbs and flows in this film where it's like ramped up, ramped up, ramped up, and then it kind of goes into a dip and a slow period, right? And at certain points, it gets very, very serious, you know. And probably, I don't, Rashad, was this your first time that you saw this movie? You said,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And in first watch, I would see why someone would say that. Why you said that. And I may be biased in this, but I've seen this a couple of times, and it is a favorite of mine. But there's a lot in it in the slow periods. I do have some things that I didn't like in it. I'll get to that later. But I just want to highlight some of the best scenes in this movie. Again, I picked this movie because of the growth of the characters, and I love that when you can have a movie and the characters don't stay stagnant throughout. There's some movies where the characters are supposed to stay stagnant, but that's the point because that's who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be some kind of self-reflection or awareness, self-awareness of it, right? That's when I appreciate that, and those are the ones that I think are elevated. But I think the best scene of this movie is when midway through, Noah goes to his father's house, the house that they used to live in, that brownstone in the city. And he's saying, look, Dad, I'm in a bind and I need $7,000. You know what I mean? You're not going to like to hear it. You're not going to want to hear it. I know that we don't have the best of relationships, but you are my dad, bottom line. And I'm coming to you and I need you. And I never asked for anything. And his father, you know, basically, you know, gives him the speech as if he's been in his raising him, you know, for the last 10 plus years or whatever. And says, I'm not going to help you. You need to learn this on your own, right? Doesn't even ask what it's for. Really, he doesn't even care. And we see that he has his new family with the babysitter that he was cheating on Noah's mother with at the time, and they ended up getting married and everything like that. The dad reaches his hand, huh?
And having a kid.
And had a kid, yes, who is maybe 5 or 6 or something like that. No, and the father extends his hand to shake his son's hand, as if it's like some kind of associate of his. And Noah reaches in and he hugs him, and he hugs him in a Noah way, but it's almost like he pats him on the back, like, this is the last time and you stabbed me in the back. And it's those quiet moments, those acting choices and beats I absolutely love in this movie. And those are the other things that I'm gonna highlight. One other scene in this movie like that. And I thought it was very well done. I thought it was very realistic. And I love that in a comedy movie, there was no comedy in that scene. It wasn't played for laughs. This was for Noah, that character that was real. And as zany as the movie was, that was a real moment that was happening to that character, and the movie allowed it to happen without having to inject some kind of humor because it wasn't supposed to be funny. Another scene like that is later on when they're on the train, and you have Slater, who is this kid who, when you first watch it, he's depicted as having all these neuroses, right, throughout the movie. But when you rewatch it, all the clues are there and they're laid out, right? And he's upset about something, and they're all really, they've had enough of it at this point of this night. And he looks over and he sees the 3 people, and he sees one woman and these 2 guys, and the 2 guys, it's clear that they're a couple together, right? And now this movie is 2011. Now, depending on where you lived in the country, right, you might say, well, it's 2011, it's no big deal. But 2011, really, for a lot of the country, I think arguably even today, that scene was not too much, but it was really like, wow, I'm surprised they did that, okay, in this comedy. But the 2 guys were a couple, and Slater, the kid, he looks over, and it's like he's not smiling at it, but it's like I recognize that, I understand that. In a movie where his character, he doesn't seem like he's there. He doesn't understand too much of anything. He's not tuned in, but he was tuned in at that moment. And then Noah catches his gaze, and he looks over to see what he's looking at, and there's a recognition, and he doesn't say anything. He doesn't tell anybody. As he says later, it's like basically it's none of his business to tell, and there's nothing wrong with the kid. You're gonna be all right. Life is gonna suck for you for a while, and then it's gonna be okay. And I thought it was such a beautiful moment, again, that they stopped the comedy, that they trusted the film enough and the script enough and the acting between those 2 characters that they allowed that to happen. I always thought that was very good, and those acting choices. So I understand, I'm not taking away from what Rashad said, but I like those quiet moments in this movie because it is so zany. But to have those moments in this film where they're just human, I thought it was a great juxtaposition and a great balancing, and I just wanted to highlight that. On the zany side, my favorite scene has to be the introduction of Carl and his gym, because it's so absolutely Looney Tunes. And if you've never seen this movie, it's literally insane. I know I've been going on for a long time, but down to the skate, I forget the character's name. I'll look it up in a second. But it just had me cracking up laughing. There's dudes with giant sledgehammers, and they're just breaking down walls for workouts / renovation and the thing. Carl just wants a new best friend in whatever sequential number that he has them in. He likes the sword fight. You know what I mean? He paints dinosaur eggs and fills them with cocaine. It's insane. It makes no sense in this movie. That makes no sense in those zany moments, but it's so damn funny, and I always crack up when I watch that. So I just wanted to highlight those 3 things. Chris, it's all you.
Let me tell you a story. One day I was at work, and I realized, hey, we have to do movies for the 2010s. So I said, hey, guys, we call ourselves a federation, live long and prosper. Hey, guys, hey, can everybody pick a movie? And then I knew that my arch nemesis, James, was going to pick some stupid-ass, dumb-ass movie, right? And here he goes picking The Sitter. I'm like, I've never heard this movie before. This movie exists? Oh, Jonah Hill's in it. This is James' pick. It's going to be stupid. So I sit there and I watch it expecting stupidity. Much to my surprise, I got stupidity. I got stupidity throughout this entire freaking movie, right? No, I don't know what you thought.
Yeah,
right?
I thought there was hope.
This is the same man that said, "Oh, they had a quiet scene," right? That's what he said. They had a quiet scene between two people because he's coming to the realization that he may be gay, right? Jonah Hill flamed this man the entire time by saying, "Oh, you're going to be the best dressed in the room. You're going to be entertainment."
That's after the talk. Put it in the right order.
It's whatever. That reminds me of something though. I'll give you this, James, right? Because I want to get serious.
Sure.
We're over here. We're talking about a comedy, and I thought the movie just was laughing, funny throughout the entire movie. Wasn't any kind of sadness to it. Give it this little thing with the father. But anyway, I don't know if you heard. Somebody told me like, "Hey, are we going to review this?" Yeah, and then he shows me a TikTok, whatever. I don't know if you heard, but one of the people who was a influential part of this show, of this cast, has passed away. And I want to give that person some respect on air right now. And I'm sorry I'm breaking the news to you like this. This character right here was so influential in talking about so many sweet characters on these movies that we watch.
Yeah.
But we don't use him anymore, and I don't think he needs to be used anymore because of this movie, I found something a little bit better.
All's fair in life.
False. I found something a little bit better.
Like a little bit. Like a little bit. Like a little bit.
Yeah. Anytime I see a character that deserves to be called
Like a little bit.
I'm going to play that clip.
You are.
Because when that clip happened,
Little bit.
I was cracking up. Thankfully, I work in a mattress store that was not busy and I was the only one in there because I was laughing and everybody would thought I was possessed by the devil.
Like a little bit.
I cannot get over that scene. That was my funniest scene of the entire movie. That scene right there. You puked in my grandmother's urn and then you ran away.
Like a little bit.
I can't get over how she said that. I want to go to people and say that all the time now because they piss me off when they do something stupid, especially because everybody knows, or most everybody knows that I'm a bouncer at security, bouncer at a nightclub. And when they're over there trying to screw in the bathroom, I'm going to kick them out. And when I tell them to leave and they give me the eye, I'm going to tell them you need to stop
Like a little bit.
because you need to stop acting like that. I watched this movie, and this movie started with some sexual stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, James, what do you have me watching? I know you're a little freak, but what do you have me watching?
It's just a little mouth love. That's all it was.
Right. Then he goes, and yeah, you can see he cares about his mother, but he does that thing with that the next doctor mentioned earlier about the phone, and I'm like,
That was hilarious.
Mom, the phone's ringing. Okay, all right. Oh, you going to babysit because he's pretty much having this great conversation with his mom, saying, I hope you're getting fucked tonight. I'm like, not a conversation I had with my mom, but okay, Caucasian people. What can they say? So you're having that, right? And then you go and you're about to babysit for these three little devils, right? One wants to be black, one wants to be a terrorist, and the other, I don't know how to say it. So because of that, right, I'm watching this.
Wow.
And I'm like, James, what are you doing, James? What are you doing? Then my other favorite scene happened, and I'm just going to play it.
Slater, you got the two red rum chicks from The Shining here to see you.
I did like that scene. Because that's the first thing I thought when I saw him, too. I was like, okay, red rum. Good thing we're not in the hallway.
Yeah.
He clowned the hell out of her, and I was cracking up, and I said, okay, I'm going to give this movie a chance. And I can say, honestly speaking, James,
Like a little bit.
it didn't disappoint The comedy remained throughout the entire movie. I loved it. I was crying. I'm still crying. It was so funny. And I'm not even the biggest Jonah Hill fan, but this was funny. It had me in tears the entire time. Them little kids, and I can't stand kids. Everybody knows this outside of my own. I can't stand kids, right? But, they go around, they ruin everything. They walk around.
Like a little bitch.
And I can't stand it, but I love these three kids. All of them are unique personality. Even that little girl that wants to be black. I understand why. Power to people.
Media influence.
I'm glad you celebrated February with me. But it was just really, really, really funny. And you know what else made me have a personal connection with this movie? This might surprise you, James, but this is going to surprise you. I actually realized, what's Jonah Hill's character's name? I forgot.
Noah. I don't know what his last name is.
The villain said it throughout like the entire last scene he was in. Like I just kept calling his name. He was speaking. He was funny as hell.
Oh yeah. Noah Griffith.
He was funny
Noah
as hell.
Griffith.
And it reminded me him, Noah Griffith. Yeah, where he was like my eighth best friend, my third best friend. It reminded me of me. But anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I have a personal connection because I met this guy. Right?
You met Sam Rockwell?
No, Noah Griffith. I
met Jonah Hill?
I don't know. I thought he was Noah Griffith, even though I'd never seen the movie before. But that's what I thought. Yeah, I met him, and I'm surprised that I did not know that until I saw this movie because I don't watch too many Jonah Hill movies. Wasn't he in Django?
Yep.
Yeah, he was in Django. Living his best life. Let's see if I still have the picture of me and Jonah Hill because. All right, cool. So here we go. Here's a picture of me. We were celebrating his birthday, and he just got into a bad accident, but he was kind enough to take a picture with me, and this was him before the accident. But if you know me, I usually don't pay attention to celebrities like that, but it was good knowing him. I appreciate him so much, and wherever you are, please.
Like a little bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Find out what we're reviewing immediately after this show, as well as us coming Thursday and next week. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review.
Would you mind taking a look at Bill? Sure, what's wrong? I don't know. He's just not right.
She worries too much. I'm fine.
Is he dead?
David, there's somebody outside.
Military started shooting town folk.
We gotta get out of here, guys!
All's fair in love and basketball.
How about a little one-on-one?
What we playing for?
I score, you strip. Take it off. Take it off. Strip.
All's fair in love and basketball, baby.
I'll play you. One game, one-on-one.
For what?
Your heart.
So we're doing romance movies next month, and this is how I feel.
Like a little bitch.
Because I don't know why 3 grown men pick romance movies, but here
Like a little bitch.
we are.
You had an opportunity to choose something else.
Yeah, thought I was with some men, but okay. But we're reviewing.
But instead of choosing something else,
Like a little bitch.
we're reviewing Battle for Los Angeles immediately after this. On Thursday, we're reviewing The Crazies, and then next Tuesday, we're reviewing Love and Basketball. Speaking of which, I don't think I even picked my romance movie. I need to do that. Anyway, turning it back over to Mr. James up there.
All right. Chris, he throws those curveballs because I thought he was going to hate the movie. That's how he started out. He wants to hate it so bad. I know it's coursing through his veins. And yet he did laugh, as he said. And he didn't even put up, mind you, he didn't put up the new metric of whether or not it's better than Sharknado. So he really did enjoy this movie.
We haven't done thumbs up, thumbs down yet. That just because I said that doesn't mean that it's got a thumbs up. Don't get it twisted.
There's
Don't get
the
it
evil
twisted.
coursing
And
through
more
his veins.
importantly,
Like a little bit.
There's the evil coursing through his veins. There you go. Do you have that clip of the clown pushing the kid into the pool or whatever?
Of course he does.
All right. Listen, I did say, and I teased earlier that there was a point in this movie that just annoyed me to no end. And I remember when we did our director spotlight, and even in previous movies, I've always said this, that why do you ever notice that certain groups are made fun of and they're the butt of the jokes, and then nobody else is? Well, in this movie, everybody's the butt of the joke, right? Everybody can get it. That is quintessentially New York. But one character that just annoyed me to no end was Samira Riley. That's the one who, her character of Tina, that's the one who Chris keeps playing the clip of, acting like a little biatch, you know. She had this black scent throughout the entire. Basically, imagine if you had to watch a Tiffany Haddish show and just be trapped there for like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just listening to Tiffany just talk. Doesn't even have to be a comedy. Just listening to her black scent. It was so annoying. And I said, why do they have this woman talking like that? And then at the end, when they're in the club, met the man who plays her boyfriend in this movie. He actually calls her out and he's like, I love it when you talk gangster, like showing that, you know, she doesn't really talk like that. She's just putting on this affectation so she can fit in with his group of friends or what have you. So, you know, and also there was another black woman in this movie. He sounded nothing like that and just sounded like a normal person. And that's actually who Noah Griffith's character ends up falling into a relationship with. So I did appreciate the juxtaposition and that they showed that that was an affectation. You know, she doesn't really sound like that. She was a nerd too, but also here's a normal black woman. So I did appreciate that, and credit where it's due, because I know I always call out on other movies and I didn't want to act like I missed out on this one. I like the slow, quote unquote, slow points in this movie as compared to the zany, sped up comedy, over the top comedy that this movie has. That I think we can all agree on that. I picked this movie for a reason. There is growth of the characters. The characters don't stay stagnant. All the children grow to a certain extent, which is believable for children of that age, in their age range. They don't grow the same way that Noah Griffith character grows. They're not supposed to, because they're only children, right? Noah himself, I believe he still makes mistakes throughout this entire film, but he grows incrementally. He doesn't just all of a sudden, I got it, I understand. The character who stays stagnant, his quote unquote girlfriend at the beginning of the movie, who was make love to, she stays the same because that's who she is. And that was true to her character. And even though she's self-aware, as I said in the beginning, at the end when they leave Central Park, she knows who she is. She's not, you know, oh, I have no idea that I'm, you know, self-absorbed and everything like that. She's just scared out of her mind. And so she retreats within herself. There's an acknowledgement of that. I like that all the characters grew in this movie. And again, that's why I picked all those different movies from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s, because I like movies where characters grow, where they have some kind of self-reflection. I've always enjoyed that. I like Popcorn Fare, but even in this Battle LA, which is an action film, there's growth in that. And I really do enjoy that so much. So that might be teasing my hand for that movie, but as far as this one, it's a thumbs up for me.
All right. Well, for me, you know, overall, it just wasn't an enjoyable ride. And I think it wasn't so much the movie, you know, and I got your points. You know, I didn't really take them into account when I was watching, but, you know, after you talked about it, I can see, okay, the quiet moments were there for, you know, those reasons. But it wasn't even so much the quiet moments that were putting me off. It was just the humor just really didn't do it for me. And I think it was because I was recalling another babysitter movie, Adventures in Babysitting.
Yep.
From 87, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that movie was one that I really loved. I really loved watching that movie back when I was a kid. And I think I was trying to capture that enjoyment in this one, and it just wasn't hitting on the same cylinders. I think it was too over the top in its over the top moments. And, the quiet moments, they just really didn't, punctuate it for me. Again, I do love Jonah Hill. I think he's a good actor, but this one, it just didn't capture it for me. It wouldn't be one that I would really sit down and watch again. So it's got to be a thumbs down for moi. Executive consultant, please let us know.
I was disturbed by the first scene. I was disturbed that I didn't get to see the reaction of how they felt. The parents felt when they saw that he wrecked the car. His new girlfriend is fine as hell. I laughed at almost every scene over and over and over again. I actually could watch this movie over and over and over again. And I am mad that it took me 13 years to discover this movie even existed. Of course it gets a thumbs up from me. Big thumbs up. This is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. Big thumbs up. And it has kids too. Shocked me.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you also. I know we didn't really broadcast this, for watching our Sunday special where we did a re-review of Singing in the Rain. That live chat was lively, and I was so shocked that so many people decided to tune in. Chris, thank you for being there as well. I know you're a busy man.
Yep.
Right after this show, we're doing Battle Los Angeles. I forget what year that one came out, but 2010 itself opened up that decade. Let's see what we find out, what we think of that movie. Okay. Rashad, I know that the thumbs down was only because I gave Ready Player One a thumbs down. I see what you did there. It's okay. And I forgive you. We'll start off fresh next one. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This was The Sitter 2011, Jonah Hill. Check it out if you want, if that's your type of thing. If not, I'll see you in 13 years, as Chris said. But thank you and good night.
Good night.